Hello, I'm John Hemingway. Welcome back to Shropshire. Now, this is my Leatherman. I've had it 15 years. It lives in my truck and I use it all the time. It's got loads of different tools on it. I've used it for loads of different stuff over the years. I've used it for skinning dead lambs. I used it to fix my car, put a bed together with it once. As a tool, it's highly effective at carrying out several different common jobs. And at the end of the day, that is exactly what you want from a tool. So if there was a vaccine that was highly effective at protecting your animals against several different common diseases, well, you wouldn't want to miss out on that, especially if it only costs like 85 pence a dose. Okay, so let's talk about Clostridial disease. Now, this is going to be quite a straightforward video because it's quite a straightforward subject. Now, these are a group of diseases that are all caused by the same family of bacteria. You'll have heard of lots of them. Tetanus, everybody knows tetanus. We've got Braxy, pulpy kidney, Black's disease, blackleg, lamb dysentery. Now, these are diseases that typically we can't treat. If we happen to come across an animal with one of these diseases that hasn't died yet, treatment has a very, very, very poor prognosis. They live in the soil, they're ubiquitous. If your farm's got soil, you've probably got Clostridia there. These bacteria and spores can live in the gut happily or elsewhere in the body until there's some sort of change, something that triggers them, change in diet, parasitism, something like that, at which point they release a whole load of toxins. We get sudden death of the animal as a result. With all of these diseases, it's not the bacteria themselves that are the problem, it's the toxins that they produce. So how important are these diseases economically? Well, they're one of the biggest causes of sudden death in grazing animals. Quite often if you go out and you find that you've got a sheep that's dead and you put it down to just one of those things, or pneumonia or something else, if it wasn't vaccinated against Clostridial disease, there's a very high likelihood that it would have been Clostridial disease that killed it. In terms of lambs, pulpy kidney is one of the commonest we see, and it's the third biggest killer of lambs in this country. So, are this group of diseases economically important? Absolutely yes. Given that we've got this group of economically important diseases that we can't really treat and cause sudden death in almost every case, it's very fortunate that we have a host of very effective, very cheap vaccines which will provide reliable immunity against this whole group of diseases. Clostridial vaccines are assigned Category 1 status in this country, which means essentially that they are essential and everybody should be using them. So how and when do we use these vaccines? Well, all Clostridial vaccines need 2 doses to get started off. That's your starter course. Every animal will have had to have 2 doses, 4 to 6 weeks apart, before they're protected. 1 dose does nothing. So we can start lambs off on it from when they're about 3 weeks old, get them on the starter course. Thereafter, we just have 1 annual booster. To use this annual booster to best effect, we want to line it up so that it's falling a month to 6 weeks before the start of lambing. This way, we'll have the highest level of antibodies against those Clostridial diseases in the colostrum, and that's going to give the lambs a good amount of protection against the early onset Clostridial diseases, particularly lamb dysentery, provided the colostrum's good quality and they get plenty of it. Make sure that everything is vaccinated annually, including your tups. Now, this is hardly a topic when we really need to go into the economics of giving these vaccines because they are so cheap. We're looking at 85p a dose for the annual booster. Now, you know the cost of replacement ewes at the moment. You could have vaccinated an awful lot of ewes for the cost of losing one to a Clostridial disease. Same thing applies for lambs. You've got the figures, you can do the maths. So to wrap it up quickly, Clostridial vaccines protect your animals against a whole group of untreatable illnesses causing sudden death. They're cheap, they're easy to administer, 12-month boosters, we categorise them as being essential now, no reason not to do it. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this very short video on why we should all be using Clostridial vaccines, and I will be back with more videos very soon. I hope to see you there.